my channel. Welcome to this week's WiPnChat. Grab your cuppas, grab your work, and I'll fill you in on my day, my week, and all that kind of thing. Tea, cheers. Now, the last time I picked that up to take a drink, the coaster was stuck to the bottom. And in my efforts to, I don't know, move or dislodge it or something, I sent tea flying all over my canvas. And then I stuck a bit of tissue on my open drill field. So it's like, oh god. So it's all happening here this morning. I'm waiting to go out to get my new glasses, to pick up some floss for the next part of Dark Queen of the Sea, for my nerdy cross stitch, nerdy cross stitch part 2, which is actually Pac-Man. Then I've got to go to the library and I've got to go to the post office. And hopefully there won't be too much more added to it, but we'll see how we go. So, yeah, it's a morning. And it's now 11. So, yeah. Counting minutes, yes. I could go without him. Look, I don't have to wait for him, but he has offered to drive. Who needs to be chauffeur driven? Anyway. He needs an excuse to do something other than 3D print. Right. He babysits the 3D printer. Watches it lovingly as it spits out whatever creation he's told it to. No, honestly, yesterday was a day. I had asked that a room be tidied up, things put home, and rubbish picked up and put in a bag and put into the bin, and those instructions were followed abysmally. So I decided to follow his advice and expect a shitty job to be done, which it was. And when she left, decided to fix it myself because I was feeling up to doing said job. And I've gone through the room. I've put 5 bags of rubbish in the bin. I have seethed as I've picked books out of boxes that weren't put in any order. They were just thrown into boxes willy-nilly when there's bookshelves all over the damn room that were empty that she could have put them into. So that's one. And then she's gone and squished up foam stuff that, you know, you need the foam to be flat so that the numbers fit into it. She squashed them in and distorted all the shapes. And it was getting to the point where... Sorry? Crimes Against Foam. Yes. And it just got to the point where I was just simmering even more than I needed to be. Well, I didn't say anything to you yesterday.
I can hear you.
What?
The swearing and the huffing and the puffing and the...
Anyway, the job is mostly done. I've now got a lot of empty boxes that need to be moved out of the room, and Sophie's now got a room that makes sense, hopefully. So, yeah, she'll be able to play. I'll be able to play with her. And yeah, and I found a book that I had been asking for to be found because it was put into one of those random boxes. Yeah, the naughty book. You know, because jeez. Anyway, so I spent all day doing that, and by the end of the day I could barely move. Yeah, bad move. No, it wasn't movements and anger. It was just crouching down and moving and not even lifting anything heavy. It was just sorting, and yes, it was... Anyway, it's done, and it's done to my satisfaction now, and I know where the base level is, and yeah. It's still tiring, but anyway. Get that contact. Now with the piece of tissue that landed, it landed round about here. I have wiped it off with a wet wipe. Let me demonstrate briefly. What is that? Must be hitting tea. Okay, so when I put it on, you kind of need to get a bit of the wet soggy out. I'm pressing really hard and then wiping just as hard to try and get the tissue off. You do need to use that much pressure. You need to get all of the pulp off. Now right now, that's not sticky, that's slippy, okay? It's not sticky at all, right? So you need to let it dry. Sophie, I'm going to throw it in the bin. She's playing with a tablet that frustrates the bejesus out of her and has ads all over these kids' bloody programs. Gone. No, I'm not doing it, Sophie. It's not worth it. Stop your whining. Just stick with the iPad, Sophie. You may have seen me kit down recently. This is the other container, so it doesn't have a flat top. It's nice, shiny, clear plastic. I really like those containers, but it doesn't have that flat top, which can make stickers a little bit easier, but I prefer the feel of it. It just feels that little bit more, I don't know, expensive. Better quality, maybe. Let's go with that. Now, I need to be very careful with this because these drills are not brilliant. This is a commission. It's a custom piece up there. That is actually a, well, this is the beach view that I had from the other side of the big river. It's a beautiful, beautiful spot. It's a very flat bay in this little bit, and I commissioned Stitch Diamond to do this. It's huge. I don't see the size. I think it's somewhere over the other side. Actually, it may be, no, it's buried. It's something like 90 by 50 or something. It's colossal. It's very, very long. As you can see, it's very, very long. I've got up to the fence. The fence finishes halfway through this block here. So yeah, I'm kind of a third of the way through. The drill quality, yeah, it's slightly painful. It pops, it raises. I don't know if it's the double-sided tape that lifts. They're not flying off like Hua can, but they're not staying on like they should either, and it's frustrating. I recommended Stitch Diamond to Redneck Beauty when she wanted a picture done of her husky, and while the rendition is fine, she absolutely hated the drills. I think a lot of hers was white. A lot of this is white, kind of 3865, kind of this whole block is actually 3865. She hated it to the point where she gave a scathing review, but that's Steph. She's brutally to the point, and yes, she her review and critique wasn't well accepted, unfortunately. But yeah, having done this, I certainly kind of think, yeah, you're kind of let down a little bit on the quality of the drills. Alan actually thinks that her quality is better than Evermoment, and I'm kind of thinking, hell no. But I can't get drills from Evermoment, I don't think. If that was an option, that would be great. That would be a pleasure to do, but this has been rolled up for probably a year. So it's still sticky, that's not a problem. But the drills, I think, are just that little bit more awkward. There are tabs occasionally. I think they're just missed-sized. Maybe the grid is, you know, 0.5 millimeter, 0.1 millimeter too tight. Haven't quite knotted out what the actual issue is. Just know that, you know, I'm picking bits up. So it will have to be sealed. Yeah. But they haven't popped like Hurricanes. Hurricanes was terrible. There were tabs visible on nearly all of the colours. It was one that was predominantly green. So you can't even go, oh, it's 310s or anything like that. They were just abysmal. So I'm going to stagger my multi-placing. I'm going to do the checkerboard method, and hopefully it will sort itself out. But if I don't do that stagger, I think it will just be a bit of a plum, and trying to avoid that. So, alright, so other than me, you know, working too hard yesterday, I was actually feeling fine. The back was behaving. There was a few aches and niggles from sitting on the ground. Sitting on the ground was okay. It was trying to move after sitting on the ground. It was like, holy cow. Yeah. And yeah, it is old age. So then I came and what did I do? Oh yeah, I had mail delivered yesterday, and it was my Clouds Factory There Is No Planet B kit. Although I'm looking at the envelope going, who the hell's Heidi? And why is this not coming up? And the other name on the envelope was BC Hands. And I'm thinking, I think it's Clouds Factory. I didn't have a shipping notification to tally it with. And I was kind of going, I don't know what it is. Did some searching, did some Googling, did some business searches and all of that kind of thing. Then went and checked on Clouds Factory, and there's a shipping number, and it was like, okay, it's Clouds Factory. Awesome. I want to record this because the kits are still available, or the pattern is still available. If you want to buy the pattern, it is $20. It's a year-long stitch-along. It started on January 10. It then rolls over on the 1st of every month. So the first month features the okapi and the polecat, black-footed ferret, and you can tell what they are if you know what those animals are. So February's dropped yesterday because it's the start of the month, and oh my god, all the sales or stitch-alongs. The new parts get dropped. The next part got dropped, and could easily recognise a rhino. I already knew that the black rhino was endangered. All the animals featured in this SAL are endangered animals. But then I was quite surprised to see that the sea otter is also endangered. I didn't know that. I thought there were lots of them, but obviously not. Oh. Okay. Right. Yes, well, according to Octonauts, they do.
Yes, Octonauts told me that one.
Yes. Sea otter and the black rhino, very recognisable on part 2. So I started stitching that yesterday, and oh god, look, how the hell can you go wrong 5 stitches in? Seriously? Oh man. The Nerdy Cross Stitch Society, Appreciation Society, dropped yesterday as well. Part 2 on that is Pac-Man on the E. So I have to go out and get some floss for that, because I'm somehow missing a floss that I thought I had, or can't find. I don't know. It's attached to another kit. I know, the trials. So I have to go and get that. I have to go and get some étoiles for my Dark Queen of the Sea, which dropped overnight. Holy cow. Wait until you see that. Leslie's pattern is up because I think Cassandra is behind because she is morning sick, afternoon sick, and night sick. So she's actually struggling a little bit, so I'm not sure how far off finishing she is. She may be finished because there is a picture, to be honest, on the drop. She just hasn't put it up on the Facebook group, and that's fine. But there is an option between an orb in her hand, so it's a magic orb, and then there's an ink swirl in kind of the shape of the world, you know, just a circle behind her. But there's a black ink swirl because, you know, she's an octopusy squid, kind of, not a mermaid thingamajiggy. And then Leslie's got a skull in hers because she's got a creepy bitch for her witch thing. So her face is much more angular. She's got her boobs hanging out. Cassandra's got the more discreet version with, you know, a little bit of coverage on hers. So that dropped, and when I saw Leslie's, it was like, oh my goodness, because I did a floss drop on that, and seriously, would not have had a clue where we were going. We were getting turquoise, blacks, navies, and so there's white étoile, either 823 or 310 étoile to do the ink, and oh my god, it's going to be so much fun. But seriously, all of these little stitchy bits, they're all in the middle of freaking nowhere. So miscounting is going to be my nemesis this month. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I haven't gridded my fabric. And I'm just going to start and see how we go. And yeah, maybe count like 10 times and stitch once kind of effort. It's still going to go wrong. Particularly because the start where I've got one good anchor is where I went wrong. So I don't know that I necessarily want to anchor where the mistakes were, which means that I've got to anchor from the hand and go that way. And it, yeah, seriously. And I think the whole thing of miscounting with the stupid okapi yesterday was just like, oh, this is ridiculous. You know, I miscounted on the right leg, which is where I actually started, and it was up where the right leg bent into, you know, into the knee, that I'd gone too far over or something. But then the problem being that the front leg was balanced off the back leg, which meant that I was also out on the front leg. I was like, oh god. And I was stitching white étoile on Picture This Plus aerial fabric, which is effectively pale blue, light white kind of colour. So white étoile on a fairly pale background, and I was like, oh god. So I ripped it out, fixed it, but yeah, it kind of takes you a knock in your confidence, kind of going, look, if you can't even get this right, you're, you know, what the hell. So yeah, anyway, what did I do? This weekend has been a busy weekend. This weekend, Saturday we went for a walk, again trying to beat the rain, so we kept it local. We went to a falls called O'Grady's Falls. This is in Mount Wellington National Park, or on Mount Wellington, effectively. It's up in the village that I used to live in, Ferntree, because the national park has like a network of paths. It's just incredible. So for short walks or short drives and, you know, relatively easy walks, going onto Mount Wellington is actually quite handy, and will get repetitive because all of the walks crisscross all over the mountain. quite spectacularly, and the views are amazing depending on where you go. And it's not a waterfall, but I will take you out to Sphinx Rock one day, because the lookout there is just like, wow, you're right on the outer edge of Mount Wellington, not too high up. It's a gorgeous level walk. It's something like 15-minute walk. And the cliff just falls away underneath you as you're on this outcrop, looking down over the city, and it's like reach out and touch kind of, you know, scenario. Beautiful little walk. So anyway, I don't think I'd actually done this particular walk. The falls weren't familiar to me. Don't know why I'd never done it, but either way, it wasn't a done walk. We went up. We went to one parking spot and I misjudged it. I thought the road went all the way up to where we wanted to park, but it didn't. So anyway, we went out and around to the parking. Parked up. There was nobody else there at the time when we parked, and we went then, and it basically followed a gentle kind of couple of slopes, but it was basically kind of going along the contour of the front of the mountain. So reasonably flat. It was cool enough in the morning that I had a light jacket on. I think Marcus was just in his t-shirt because, you know, he's a hard man and doesn't get cold. He permanently lives in a t-shirt. It's obscene. Nothing. Go away. See, you were listening. Right. I did. Tough. Real man. I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah. So started out in the shade. This is a fire trail. So the fire trails on Mount Wellington are actually built for cars, fire trucks to get along. They're not for any real other purpose than that. They're not fire breaks. That's what I wanted to say. They're not fire breaks. They're fire trails. They are usually on a fire break, but from what I've seen in Tasmania, fire trails are not fire breaks. No, it's just to get in. Yeah, it gets the trucks in. Yeah, but there weren't any. There was a break here anyway. So we start the walk, and it's in the shade, and it's quite damp underfoot. I don't know. It rained, I think, the day before, so it was damp underfoot, and the walk itself, you know, was fine. Walk in after I don't know, a pregnant chick who is maybe 6 months pregnant. She's up ahead. We pass a couple of groups coming away, like a bunch of older people walking out, and then some weird dude who was straggly in the beard, had a headdress on that seemed to be covering like an dreadlock booth, and an older chick that could have been his mother, and Marcus says there's none. Anyway, there's some fruity people who live in the suburb called South Hobart. Fruity hippie. Yeah. Now, by that I mean kind of Woodstocky hippie. You know, the women who will wear really weird clothes. Like, the clothes are not flattering. They're like, yeah, but they're op shop, but they're not high store clothes either. It's just like, grab a pair of curtains, put a seam in, and hope for the best. They're that kind of asymmetrical, doesn't fit anything but a bag of potatoes, not flattering whatsoever, and the most god-awful patterns you've ever seen. I don't know where they find the fabric for these things. Seriously, they're bad. So this chick, and the other thing about the hippie kind of thing is the girls always seem to wear skirts. No matter what they're doing, they're always wearing skirts. And I'm kind of thinking, skirts are not practical. In my head, skirts are not practical, you know, for work, for play, for pleasure. You dress up in a skirt and... Well, okay. So... yeah, she's wearing a skirt and heavy kind of footwear, and it was just very, very bizarre looking odd couple. It's just, and she was kind of lagging behind him, so he looked young and she looked, you know, she looked old enough to be a mother. If she was a partner, well, yes, very much an odd couple. So they were walking out, and I said, well, they could potentially be walking from their, you know, tent in the woods kind of thing, because a lot of the people will actually live more off the earth, very much free living and all that kind of thing in this kind of area. They are just a little bit peculiar. Usually in the vegan category. Sorry, they are some very strange thinking people sometimes. Then we got to the turn. Got a bit lost because the sign for O'Grady's Falls was in the tiny print on the sign, you know, up the hill a bit. Anyway, found it and kept going. And we got there to some raucous laughter. And to some dude at the top of the falls in his jocks photographing two chicks who were giggling and laughing up at the top. So trying to get photos without dude's kind of jock ass in the photo, or the girl's legs in the photos, you know, was just like, oh god. So that was a bit of a thing. And then some people crossed the flimsy bridge that it says 1 adult to 2 children on the bridge, maximum load. And then a group of people with, I don't know, 2 or 3 adults and 5 kids all walked over at the same time, and it was like, yike. Because when I walked over it with Sophie, you could feel it giving and shaking, and, you know, it's not a sturdy bridge. So, yes, there was that. Got the photos, but yeah, having, you know, the Insta-knobs at the top of the falls was quite off-putting. Some German mum came down with a couple of her kids, and they immediately went into the waterfall, you know, shoes off, and into the waterfall, and were paddling around. Yeah, so we left. Sophie decided to spit the dummy on the way out, and when Marcus went back to collect her, he found her doing an ET with a leech that was about to latch onto her finger, because she was, you know, playing in the mud kind of thing on the path. So yeah, he saved her from the leech, and we went out, and when we got out to the open area, which we've got a video of,
It's not a monkey, it's a kookaburra.
in this, there is a fire break in this bit of section of the walk, and as we walked towards a tree stump that was on our path, you could hear the cackling, and you knew you were kind of as near to them as you could be. They were actually across the fire break and in those trees. Well, they stayed in those trees for the duration of us going past and us coming back, because when we got back to the tree stump, they started cackling again. So Marcus has that sound captured, and you can hear the kookaburra, and it was, you know, it started off with the kind of chatter, 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 and then one would launch with the whole melodic you know, full song. But initially they just start kind of jabbering to each other, and
When you normally hear recordings of them, you're only hearing one, whereas this was a group of them all having a go.
yes. So we've got that, and then I've got a bit of the walk on the way out where I'm just kind of saying how muggy it is. Hello, welcome to our walk. This is our view. This is the open fire trail. It's not all this open for a fire trail. Fire trail is basically just a way for getting trucks into an area. But this is the fire trail for O'Grady's Falls, or the track into it. It goes along more or less the contour, so it's reasonably level in most parts. We just went down to the waterfall, and there were, I'm going to term them Instagrammers at the top of the falls, giggling and laughing and yelling, and I don't think they had specifically planned to get wet, because the guy who was taking pictures of the girls was wearing a pair of normal underwear, and the girls looked like they were probably just wearing their underwear too, or maybe they had bikinis, I don't know. But I tried to carefully photograph the waterfall without getting too many legs in, because they were just all over the place, and it's like, oh god, we've been so spoilt up until now that where we've gone, we've either gone early enough that we're missing the people, or to spots that are a bit more remote. Yeah, because in my waterfall group there is people saying there were hundreds of people. Trying to get a photo without the people is really hard. So yeah, there's butterflies, there's wrens. I don't think there's a plural for wren. I don't know what half of this, it's kind of like sawgrass, is that brown topped papyrus kind of thing. This is just bracken. About the only open clearing around. There are some mountain bikes coming up, some zigzags. And then we're going back into the trees. The humidity here is horrible. So let me show you, yes, clouds. This is the city kind of down there. So like it's just over the hill. The clouds are starting to come in. It's supposed to rain this afternoon, or it was raining earlier, so everything is kind of damp and humid. The weather app I have tells me it's 60% humidity at home. It feels like it's over 70 humidity here. I'm not brilliant with humidity. Either way, it's soggy, it's damp, and it's kind of gross. And Marcus is kind of going, it's too hot for me. I don't know, it's the humidity, because it just doesn't feel like it's refreshing air. So this is the trail. These are little markers that we get. And then this is the fire trail now. With the fire trail, you see how closed in we are now. And in the shade, the sun's just gone behind a cloud too. In the shade, suddenly gone cool. But it's still damp underfoot because of the rain overnight. But it's a damn sight nicer than when the sun was out. Tasmania, when I first moved here 20 years ago, had the ozone hole over the island. I'm not sure it's improved much. So when the sun comes out, you've got no protection. So it just disintegrates you. Particularly disintegrates me. This lady was at the falls with her kids. She's possibly German. So I'll stop recording. But this is the kind of path that we're on. It's a bit more uphill now. And more of the same. And Sophie's up on Marcus' shoulders because she's about to dummy down near the waterfall. Alright, bye. And I checked the humidity, and the humidity for my phone was showing home being where we live, and it was saying humidity was 60%. I reckon it was more up on the mountain that time because the soil was wet, so the heat was evaporating all that steam and yick, and it was just horrible. And even Marcus was going, yeah, this is yucky, and I took off my thin jacket too. So, yeah.
Now I'm thinking, yeah, she told me to wear something more than a t-shirt.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, it was a nice walk. It was short. We were, I think, home by 12 or something. We left at 9 because Sophie was being complete and utter spanner when it came to eating breakfast. So trying to get her with something into her was just like a non-event. I got some knitting done. I got another blue section done of my Metamorph Magus. So if I think of it and it's in the photos, I will show you those. But let me go through the photos. So Marcus has converted, or Google has converted, some animations. If I think of it, I'll try and think of it because the computer doesn't like playing animations. Okay, well, I've got that thing because it's on Google. It shows me walking down the path, and I'm zigzagging all over the damn place. It's like, far out. I don't walk in a straight line. So there's that, but that was basically from I think a time-lapse kind of hold the shutter and click. Yeah. But yeah, there wasn't really anything awe-inspiring to take pictures of. You know, there was a couple of rotting trees. The view was open, but you couldn't really see much. But the photo with the blue sky in it, that's actually looking over towards the city. You know, it's down a bit, but you know, that's the city. And this place is, you know, 10 minutes from the city. This is the open fire break. As I say, it's not really a fire break because it's just a patch. It doesn't...
I think it is actually a fire break.
Well, but it's so small.
Yeah, it's still a break.
Maybe. Got a panorama though of the whole view, as wonky as that all kind of is. A couple of the pretty trees, a couple of me walking with Sophie. Then there's the bridge and the falls. Warning on the bridge for capacity and that kind of thing. But the falls were really pretty. And if it wasn't for the Insta dudes and, you know, shrieking things up at the top of the fall, it would have been lovely. It was just like they were the only people in the world and didn't...
It's kind of nice from the point of view of not having seen that many people out and about.
Yeah, it was people on the walk, and they were certainly they were enjoying themselves.
Probably made it feel less COVID.
Maybe. Quite happy to have the more COVID. Yeah. Look, it's the first time we've been invaded by people who maybe haven't appreciated that others want to go there too. It's the first time where I've felt the whole Instagrammer kind of invasion. Like on the Facebook group that we're part of, where we all kind of share photos of the waterfall. So, you know, I went in and shared photos and stuff. Some people will have gone to falls and say, yeah, this place was packed. There were people everywhere. It was really hard to get a photo without people in it, blah, blah, blah. And I'm kind of thinking, We haven't had that yet. For a start, we go early. Not early enough for his nibs. Yeah. But we go early, and we've maybe been picking some falls that are a bit more out of the way. I don't know. A lot of the falls that people have gone to are hard walks. Maybe we haven't done those. I don't know. We've just been very lucky in not having a horde of people invading our photos or our space or our ears. And it has just been us in the pristine Tasmanian wilderness. If that makes any sense. So we have been particularly spoilt by not having other people, you know, invading that noise factor. They've been nearby, but, you know, we haven't been at the same location at the same time, kind of thing. You know, and I appreciate it. There's a place up on the mountain. It's got a name called the Disappearing Tarn. Okay, basically a disappearing tarn is a puddle. It just is a bit slow to drain. So anytime there's a whopping great rainfall, the Hobartians flock to it. So the stories would go. Because it's now the latest Instagram find. And people will swim. These guys are insane. I'm Irish. I don't swim in the water. And I'm from cold water. Yeah. So they'll swim in this tarn, which is ice cold water off the mountain, freshly fallen, into the pond. You crazy. But it looks gorgeous. So there's all of that kind of stuff. And yeah, we have been very lucky not to have all of that. And anyone we have had, you know, go somewhere, you know, that we've passed by have seemed to appreciate what they're going for. And, you know, haven't been there to, I don't know, be loud, be brash, be anything except enjoy it. Which these guys, you know, because they were laughing and giggling, okay, they were having a good time and they were having some photos taken and it was a lot of fun and blah blah. But it was like, oh, there's people here, we want, you know, we should maybe dial it down a bit. There was none of that. It was very much, we're at the beach, we're going to shriek and yell and make a lot of noise and to hell with anyone else kind of thing. And it was just like, okay. Okay, maybe I'm just a fuddy-duddy bitch. But, yeah. Look, I'm just saying, I appreciate the middle of nothing and peace and quiet. Oh, he's saying I'm getting old and grumpy.
Turn the music down, you young people.
Yeah, I was kind of I mean, look, it's not like I needed to have a video or sound bite of every single falls and that kind of thing that I needed peace and quiet. But likewise, I was having to crop my photos because, you know, Yoki Bob in her underwear at the top, her legs were showing in the pictures. And, you know, Odd Job was up in his blue jocks because he hadn't planned to be stripping off. And it was just like, yeah. Or he just did the young man thing and went, yeah, I'll just go on my jocks, it'll be fine. Whereas the girls, well, I don't know what they were wearing, whether they were wearing bikinis or just underwear. I don't know. I would never have done that. I never felt like I had the figure to do that. And Marcus just goes, yeah, jealousy. I don't think it's jealousy. Well, actually, maybe it is, because I never was free enough to let go and just have fun. Or in a warm enough climate. We did have our odd summer days in Ireland. But no, that was usually with parents, and I still wouldn't have stripped off, even as a teenager. Yes. I have been called a prude in the past.
You have?
I have.
No.
I've also been called frigid, too. By the same person.
Well, coming from him, I think that's...
Yeah, anyway.
Yeah, let's stop there.
Uh-huh. Anyway, there's nothing wrong with some modesty. Yes. Anyway. What else was there? And yeah, so there's some mosses. There were some very pretty mosses. Didn't find any mushrooms, and you know, that's kind of it. The popping drills are a little bit of a pain. Anyway, we'll get there. Going to change the pen. Now that's 4. I've got mostly 5s. I'm going to go with 5. Got to find a 5. I thought I had a 5 in action. That's 4. Is that a 5? Oops. Oh God. Help. Keep pulling the end out. That's 5. Okay, I have shown you before. There is a number. Sorry, I'm trying to look at 2 screens. Hang on, let me get rid of that. So there is a number just in here, and my camera is autofocusing at the moment, so maybe I can force it. But you see the little blob? Yeah, anyway. There's a little blob in there, in that flat portion, and that is the number. And I've worn it down to a bit of a curve. So Lexi Lily, I think, is the one who actually sells purposely curved multiplacers. You can create them yourself if that's the thing, because I tend to rock as I put them down. Always have. I place with the first corner and then lean down on the rest. So this is going to race through, and I will then need a 6 placer because that next section above is 6. So yeah, this will fly through, which is the beauty, I guess, of color blocking. And yeah, a couple of things I have tried doing in the last week, just because I have time at the moment, is how-to videos without necessarily me talking. I don't know if you're finding it useful. I know from the point of view, I've done them, like I've gone to look up how-to videos, particularly with crochet or stitching or knitting or something. And when I do a Google search, it gives me the snippet of the video that it's relevant to. And there may or may not be talking. And I'm kind of thinking, that's what I really want to hone in on. That's kind of like a bit of my niche. My camera just jumped there. I was going to see if I can get it. Anyway. So that's what the purpose of those snippet videos were. So tell me what you think. Do you think they're helpful? The square is going to be a little bit trickier to do because there's, I guess, a few more instructions. The camera that I've been using is my phone, just because I have got a tripod. I can potentially use these cameras, and I've just got to play with angles and stuff, and whether or not I can zoom in enough is my thing. I want it to be crystal clear. I want it to be up close and personal, and because it's not necessarily audio requirement, the sound doesn't need to be on or anything, so I don't need to worry about my mic and that kind of thing. So yeah, there's those. So I've done a round placing, and that includes my hot tip on how to place diagonally with rounds. There is a way you can do it. Check out the video. What was the first one? Can't remember what the first one was. But anyway, there are those. There are both on Instagram because they're shorter videos, although one is 10 minutes. There's hopefully videos that you'll be able to kind of go, oh yeah, that makes sense. Because it's, oh, Ziploc bags. That was the first one. the magic movement of opening a Ziploc bag, which is just, you know, click and slide kind of thing. Yeah, so there's that. Need to do a video on the squares. What else did I want to do? Maybe I'm putting wax into the pen. What else would you need to see? If you're a beginner, or if you were kind of going, am I doing this right? What would you want to see? Answers on a postcard, please.
If you don't know, you'll find out.
Yeah, and if you don't know what you don't know, I hopefully will think of it.
You don't know.
Yep. Yeah, I'll look. Yeah, if I don't know how to do a certain technique, then, you know, I'll work it out. I also did my pen stash last week. Jeremy and Christy put a challenge out, and we showed our pen stashes. That was fun. I have a lot of pens. So yeah, go check out that video. My blue tack is getting a little bit messy on this. What else? This week, well, I do want to get, I've actually got a new box of diamond painting, a new Aussie maker, Create Love Share. I'm actually going to launch that video. I had sent an email to them. I've kind of sent a reminder to them to say, hey, you know, bit of attention please, because I asked them a question and have applied for an affiliateship, and I think I sent the email on Australia Day, so it could have just got lost in the day off in Australia. So just sent them a bit of a reminder. So we'll see how that goes. But I was quite impressed by the company. So there's that. So who was it? I think it was Christy's video thumbnail. Haven't seen the video, but she has a thumbnail showing Treasure Studio Art's new packaging. About frickin' time. Its packaging is actually similar in that it's a tube as Create Love Share, who is a much younger company and just seemed to put the money into the product first rather than starting off and making promises and then not delivering, which seemed to happen in other companies. So yeah. What? They've concentrated on the product from the get-go. Absolutely. Yes. Yes, it is a good thing. So I'm waiting to hear back from them. I have applied for an affiliate link, and yeah, waiting to hear on that application too. So we'll see how we go. But they're very affordable, and yeah, I was just quite impressed by the company. I had a couple of suggestions and wanted to see how amenable they were going to be to those suggestions, because there's no point being an affiliate if you can't talk to the company that you're wanting to support. So that's just my take on it. Why I have teamed up with who I have teamed up with in whatever, you know, realm it's been in. So if you see me as affiliate for anyone, know that it's because I have asked questions and got good responses, and the feedback has been good, customer service has been good, that kind of thing. So if you have any queries, I can't sell stuff to save my life unless I believe in it. So if I don't believe in it, I can't sell it. I won't get behind a product, and I'm not going to give you the bullshit that, oh yeah, it's worth it, or anything if I don't think it is. So yeah, I've thought long and hard over who, if any, I do give that spokesperson to. And they're the companies that you see on my page most often. Yeah, so where are we at with physio? I've got physio this week, and then my work certificate runs out next week, which means the move to go back to work begins. Help. Yes, Sophie and Daddy get to have time alone again. But it's been nice having the time off. Like, we haven't driven each other insane. I hope. Oh. We're not the kind of couple who will bicker and can't stand each other's company for lengths of time. So from that point of view, having 4 months off in each other's pockets has not been hell. I mean, there's been certain things that haven't been fun, and that's been me not being able to do anything, or having to feel beholden to constantly ask for help. That hasn't gone down too well. Well, if I have to do something, it's kind of like, oh shoot, I can't do this. I'm going to have to ask for help. And I hate that. And I hate then feeling, oh, I'm putting him out by asking for help. Even though he said, just ask. You know, that kind of thing. So... Well, I can't ask for help when I needed you to pick up the washing or put the washing on, or... And then there's the other thing is... No. There's things like, I want a job done at a particular time for a reason, and he is busy doing something else, so his head's in a different game, and he's not understanding the time sharing that I'm looking at, because I'm kind of going... I need the washing done by blah time because it needs to have maximum time out on the line, and if it's waiting until 12 to go on, it takes over an hour and a half, which means that it's only got 3 hours of drive time. That's where my brain is churning, and he doesn't think like that quite the same.
It's just that I'm not going to have a meltdown.
But he's in the middle of something else.
I'm not going to have a meltdown because I've forgotten to hang out the washing on time.
Anyway, so that's where we disagree. His time sharing method and mine. More than anything. So yeah, I know. Go and shower. Oh,
Are you calling me stinky?
yeah. I need to go out, otherwise I'll leave you here.
No. Obviously, printing is something very important.
Obviously, I think I'm on to the 6s. All right, 6. I think that might be a 6. The 6 resets a 7. Looking. That's a 6. What are you? You're a 7. Look, I could use a 7. But this is here, so it's getting used, and I need to load it. See, this is the kind of thing I could put on videos and just have it close up and, you know, proper... frame rates and all of that kind of thing, so it's clear and it's crisp, and it just shows this is how you load with wax or blue tack, you know, and you're up close and personal, you know, being able to see that. So, you know, that's it. It's in. It will need to bed itself down. Ugh. I think this might be a diamond art club pen. It's so light in comparison to the others. Wow.
Are you as stinky as Daddy? Stinky?
Go shower, Sophie.
Daddy? Want a shower? We're going to go for a drive. You going to have a shower before you go for a drive? Yeah. Not a road trip, just a drive.
That's a 7. Okay.
Come on. Let's have a shower.
Oh dear.
Yeah, we're going for a drive in the car.
I don't know what
What's that?
other plans are for the week.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, physio on Thursday, GP on Friday. Trying to stay off social media. I've got so much stitching to do. Oh, changing the topic from diamond painting again. I worked out all my stitching whips, and I think I've put 6 into my book of projects. Yeah. So I've got my Dark Queen of the Sea monthly. I've got... Oh, that picked up without any wax in. That's interesting. Got my Dark Queen of the Sea, which is a monthly. Don't know how many stitches are in this one actually, because Pattern Keeper doesn't pick up the exact stitches. What else have I got? Oh god, brain. I've got the Nerdy Pac-Man. That released on Wednesdays. I've got Peppermint Purple Blackwork box, which is a one night, 1 hour kind of thing. On Fridays I've got my Steady Thread Botanicals, which again is an hour. On what else have I got? Oh, I've got the Harry Potter then. The Letters from Hogwarts is over, but I'm still doing it, and that kind of fills in the balance of the month sort of effort. So when I've got the Dark Queen finished, when I've got the monthly stitch along, so I've got Planet B as well. When I've got the monthly stitch along things done and out of the way, that's when I get to play with Harry Potter Letters from Hogwarts. So that's going to get put away for the couple of weeks while I figure things out with the rest. I've started on doing the envelopes down the bottom, so that's all kinds of cool. Need to finish those off with backstitch when that's done. And I need to figure out where I'm going to put the howler in, because the howler is quite important, and somebody did a pattern for the howler and it does look really cool. Because, Molly sent her on a howler and that was hilarious. What else? That's kind of it for the stitching. The wool, the knitting is very much the in-car project, which just, gives me something to do while we're driving mindlessly to a road trip location, which is usually a bit of a drive. I mean, technically I could probably do, at the moment, it's 90 stitches. I could probably get 2 rows in on my way to work. I'm undecided as to whether or not I'll do that, but that would be one way to increase my my knitting time. I am considering having an in-work project, so actually having an office project. I tend to be the kind of person who, if I'm not in the lunchroom, I'm going to go for a walk, or I'm going to be back at my desk working because I've got work to do. So I don't know how that would go down, to be honest. I'm not going to take my stitching into the lunchroom. Yeah, don't know. And the other thing is, I technically only get 20 minutes. Now, in my position, we can, have a bit longer, but I don't think it would be appreciated for you to have a bit longer doing stitching. It's a judgmental lot, put it that way. I don't think it would be appreciated if somebody was to see me stitching for 40 minutes. Instead of, going and getting on with my work kind of thing. Does that make sense? yeah, as I said, it's a bit of a judgmental lot. You know, you can go shopping, or you can go and have a coffee, or at least they can, but God forbid if you can. It's weird mentality. And then one of the bosses kind of changed some of the rules when she started, and she said, I need to know where you are at all times. I need to know if you're in the office. I need to know if you're going up to the town to go shopping. I just need to know. I don't need to know what you're doing. I just need to know why you're not where you're expected to be, which is working. And I said, well, that's not going to go down well. And she said, I don't care. And it was like, okay, so I don't know how that is actually going down, because I've then been off. But I don't, you know, I mean, I don't mind kind of saying, hey, I'm going up to town. Because sometimes there are days where something comes across your desk and it's just like brain fart. And I don't know, coffee might not have kicked in. It's such a schmozzle that it's just like, oh crap, I really need to gather my thoughts either before dealing with it or after dealing with it. That I just need to get out and get some fresh air, you know, that kind of thing. There are moments where I have that. And getting the break is certainly needed. So, you know, then I might go up and I might kind of go, okay, I'm going to go to the dollar reject store kind of place, and I'm going to look for whatever, or I'm going to go, you know, buy a book or buy a diary or look at floss or, you know, whatever it might be, just as that mental break, you know, because it's needed. So, yeah, just that. Alright, now I'm putting the proper lid onto, because that was a backup drill thing, because there's so many in the sky. Oh, excuse me. Catching frogs. Oh dear. I am crazily waiting for mail. I've got my sassy pouch to open. I actually bought a cone of 310 the other day, but I've got my sassy pouch to open. I'm waiting on my Black Needle Society box. They have actually put a raffle draw comment, like whatever the thing is. Anyway, they've put one of those up on their Instagram. I promoted that, but it shows the box, and I'm kind of going, I haven't got mine yet. It's arrived over in WA to Felicity, and I'm still waiting on mine. It's, you know, it's just like hanging out there in cyberspace, postal world. I did get a notification on my phone from the post office. I don't know if that's it, saying, hey, we've got a package. But at the moment, it's lost between New South Wales and here. It got there a week ago, and it's like, yeah, a little bit anxious to get that. Oh, I meant to put that X in. So yeah, there's that. It would be nice if it got here, because then I can indulge and have a little bit of pleasure before, you know, going back to work and all of that kind of thing, and share it. More importantly, share it. Yeah. So there you go. There's another chunk done of the sky, color blocking with a multiplacer, checkerboarding with the multiplacer, and then leaving the occasional individual to be just popped in. Roller it down. It's actually gone down pretty well. But yeah, as I say, it will most likely need to be sealed. There are popping, lifting, they're not all flat. I haven't sealed properly before. I've done patches. In fact, I think I've actually preemptively patched somewhere here in the black that I noticed with varnish, nail varnish, because it was driving me bonkers. The blacks were a bit of a bitch. But yeah, you put them down, they pop back up again, and yeah, it's just, it's annoying. yeah, and they just keep lifting. I don't know if I've got spares. I'll go through my Evermoment spares. Probably don't have the colours. And as I say, I don't know if I can order individual drill packets from Evermoment, from Zoe, and just say, look, can I have these colours? Even if it's just one packet of each. There's a ridiculous amount of colours in this, to be honest. 44 may actually go into a second column. I actually have the cheat sheet right next to me on the board, but it's been a bit obscured. But yeah, so there's that. That's going to get folded up. Drills always on the outside when you're folding up your canvases. And yeah, see, there's that. I mean, yeah. I think it's just because the sticky just isn't quite sticky enough, whereas poured glue is that bit stickier. I think that's the biggest issue. Yeah, see, it's just being a pain. I don't even know if it's proper clear nail varnish. Let's see what I've got. And I've got some kitchen roll here next to me. So this is one way to do it. You do it when it's kinked open so that it goes into the cracks. You just wipe it on. It does smell like nail varnish, but it says base coat or something weird. Trying to get clear nail varnish was like not going to happen. And then wipe it off, but I don't want to wipe off the pulp onto the nail varnish either. See, it's lost its shine by doing that, so you do need to be careful. There is a Mod Podge you can get that is glittery, but there's no point in me, you know, sticking on and then losing that bling, because that's a complete dead zone now, even with the wipe on. So I might bring it back if I just leave it, but because it's a base, it says base and top coat, this is the thing. And that's just wet, so no. Yeah, not convinced that sealing is a thing, but I think you should seal from underneath, not from above. And seal occasionally. I wouldn't say, you know, cover the whole lot, unless you really need to. But this is the kind of thing that I would put into a frame, glass on the front and all that kind of thing, get the glass to actually hold it on. As much as possible, and not have people kind of touching and fiddling with it for them to come off. The shine is quite nice on the drills. That is a thing, but I think it's the backing that's letting it down more than anything else. Yeah, and I don't think I can get Mod Podge in Australia. Aussies, can I? I don't think I've seen it. So yeah, there's that. Alright, I will let you go. Thank you very much for joining me. Oh, there is probably that X that came off. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope you have enjoyed. Now it's off there. I hope you've enjoyed the tiny walk that we did. If you have anything you would like to see on video, please let me know, and I will do short videos on that. They will be specific topics, so, you know, round placing, Ziploc bags, square placing, square checkerboarding might even be different from something else, you know, so there is no trick to diagonals. You cannot diagonal on square canvas. So it's pretty much single placing, double placing, learning how to position the drills on a multi-placer so you can do odd spots, that kind of thing. And then it's just down to practicing. But being able to maybe see it on a video will help kind of give you a visual understanding. Not everyone works with either text or talk, so it's a kind of kinetic learning, see one, do one kind of thing. So that's where the video aiming from that point of view is coming from. Yeah, so if there is anything in particular that you would like to see, Let me know if there's anything in particular you would like to see from a stitching point of view. Let me know. I actually stitch in hand the sewing method, which is actually from above. I do all of my sewing above, and I actually do a loop start and I finish above as well. I actually run the needle through the top of the stitches and then behind the back and up, bring the tail up, and then snip the tail further over. I could potentially trim it shorter by 1 centimeter. It's no biggie. I don't care about the back. My back looks a bit like somebody threw up in it. I'm still learning my technique for getting it looking neat, because I end up doing a stitch where I'm wasting thread effectively. I'm going in a diagonal at the back because of how the stitch runs, and I've got to work all that out too. So yeah, I've got to figure out how I can maybe do that. But if there's stuff like that that I can show you, then I will. My knitting is not necessarily brilliant. I can knit, basically. I can't show you any fancy stitches. I have to go and look up the fancy stitches. But if there's something there that I can help you with, I think it's throw. I keep the new yarn in my right hand. I think if you pick, it's the left hand flicks, and if you throw, it's the right hand doing it. Something, there was a name for it, put it that way. With crochet, I haven't really done much, but I'm happy to, you know, record close stitches. But again, I go to other people for that, so, and I go to other YouTube. So I don't necessarily go to the same person each time. I do have a way of weaving in my tail that I can show you, that I worked out from text. Well, no, actually I was reading the text, I was confused as all hell, and then I worked out how to do it myself, and it turns out it's kind of a thing. And then somebody showed me, Jessie, actually, Mislaid Pages, was talking about it, and he calls it the Weavin' Stephen. His name is Stephen. So he shows how to cast the tail in or weave the tail in as you stitch. And that's what I was actually doing myself, but it was really great to see it in video, and it was like, oh my god, that's so much easier. Whereas this text version was kind of saying all sorts of weird shit, and I was getting confused. I was trying to work it out in the car, and it was like, no, I'm confused. How do I get this to go inside the stitch? That's what I was after, rather than a out and around kind of thing. So it was like, no, I need to get that into this, and trying to visualize all of this, and I worked it out, and it was like, that seems too easy, and it's exactly the way that this Weavin' Stephen thing is. And it's like, right, so I'm not being stupid, I have done it correctly. I've done it in a way that works, put it that way. I don't know how to weave in ends from crochet. I've done what I thought was weaving in, and they've all started popping out again, so I need to consult Marissa's video on that and how to weave in the ends. Something ain't right, but that's corner to corner double knit kind of stuff, so I'm still learning. So if you want to learn with me, by all means ask and I will figure it out, but I'm still learning, and I don't profess to know and have done this for years or anything else. It's just what works for me, and I will usually not go for a shortcut, but go for an efficient cut, if that makes sense. So yeah, hope you've enjoyed. Please like, subscribe, comment, all of that kind of jazz, and I will see you around in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now. May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face, and the rain fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand.